Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching other trucks roll in, then I watch them roll away again. I've been backed up to this dock all day, just watching the other trucks roll away. I've been sitting at the dock all day, just wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay, 'cause I've got freight to deliver.
We're at the next segment of the inside look of Celadon, and I just want to put this out there quickly. This is not just about Celadon. This is about any large trucking company out there, and give you guys a better concept of what goes on behind the scenes. So we're sitting here in between Gary and Lauren, and they're about to say hi.
Hi.
Hello. All right, and this is driver experience is what they've titled it. Everyone's got to have a fancy title. So Lauren's going to explain to us quickly what driver experience is and what they do here at Celadon.
So we kind of describe ourselves as maybe, I don't want to put this in a bad way, but the last resort. So if a driver has an issue, he can't work out with his driver manager, or he can't get a hold of operations, or nobody really knows how to help him out, he can come to us, and we are essentially like a mediator between the driver and the different departments. But mostly what we do is we handle driver payroll. So we will go over settlements with drivers if they need to, just helping them understand what's on their paycheck, because with different trips being paid out and different things being reimbursed, it can get pretty messy. So I would say like 70% of our focus is probably on driver payroll, and the rest of it is just whatever random issues might slip through the cracks in such a big company that need to get resolved.
So what if, let's say, a driver is having issues with their DM, they're not getting along, not necessarily arguments, but they're just, two people don't always mesh when you throw them together, and they're having issues, whether it be load issues, miles issues. Can they come to you for that?
They can. We actually have a thing called the fleet transfer request, which is basically a survey, and once they fill, they'll rank their satisfaction on many things, whether it's miles, being treated with respect, just a whole bunch of different things that may apply to them. Once they submit it, it goes directly to my boss as well as their operations manager, and the operations manager from there can determine, okay, is this they're not seeing eye to eye because they're two different people, or is it something that can be resolved, and we can work through this with a little communication. Okay. And then if need be, they'll switch them to a different fleet.
Great. So I noticed on your computer you've got like 4 different windows open on the one. You got like 3 different windows open on the other one. So what is it that you basically do here? Do you monitor stuff, or is it just because you're looking into the driver's payroll, or are these complaints, issues?
This is just for like a particular driver. So in these tractor review screens, basically we'll type a truck number in, and it'll pull up just basic driver information, their name, driver ID. And then we'll take this information and we'll actually go to this screen and we'll get even more driver information. These 2 top screens I like to have open, we can pull up their settlement, so their paycheck here, and see all the details. And then here we can pull up if they have any owings, and it might not be debt, but it could be a quite simple question like, how much is left for me until I pay off my truck?
Okay.
So we can look up,
which is good on the lease purchase side.
Absolutely.
And whatnot.
These are both used for lease purchase. For a company driver, we really only need one screen to look up their paycheck.
Company driver's not as important. Oh, wait a second, I'm a lease operator. Okay. Company drivers are just as important.
They sure
are. So what are some of the daily problems that you run into with the drivers? What are the more common problems that you're running into right now?
I would say they can be as simple as, hey, my fuel card got turned off, can you turn it back on? Or, hey, can you fax me the form so I can get direct deposit set up?
That's what I just did.
Yeah, that's what Gary just did.
Oh, okay. Gary, I'm just giving you some camera time here for a second because you just did it. Okay.
I appreciate it.
And then things as complicated as hey, you know, I didn't get paid for this trip. I turned this trip sheet in. I transloaded in on time. Why didn't I get paid? Really, it's...
So really a driver shouldn't necessarily quickly run off to their DM or to payroll. They should really contact you when they have an issue.
Yes, and we also recommend to, you know, we can't help you if a driver calls in and says, hey, can you go over my entire settlement? We're happy to do that, but at the same time, if they have a specific concern, it's good that they have already looked at the settlement too. So kind of helping themselves.
So you're not
before we
their
help
Adobe
them.
Reader type deal. You know, if you want to know how much you got paid, go look at your bank account.
Exactly.
Or actually, I noticed we have a macro anyways that says, you know, that you can send in. I forget what macro number it is because I never use it. 36. And you can find out what your settlement was. But really, you're not a personal service to say, let's sit here and chat for half an hour while you tell me what each one of my deductions were. Even though you guys should all know what they are anyways.
But
It's only for
don't mind.
discrepancies type thing, right?
Yes, really.
Or
you
stuff
know,
that they don't
if guys
understand.
don't have internet access, of course, we don't mind saying, okay, you got paid this amount. But if it's something really in depth, we kind of expect that they have a little bit of research done so that we can do further research.
Yeah, it's not. What I mean by that is, like, I understand if a driver calls and doesn't have internet and doesn't understand, well, why was it so low? What were the deductions? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That's fine. I'm saying don't call in just to say, to have a daily chat saying, okay, so
Right.
what was this? What was that? What was taken off here? Even though you should know what the reoccurring stuff is every week.
Exactly.
So, okay. Does Gary run into any particular problems that you're having issues with drivers, or?
No, most of them are pretty easy to get along with.
Are they?
actually, After you cool them off a little.
After you cool them off. Well, yes, naturally, if you look at your paycheck and
We
there's
try to be
nothing there.
as nice as possible, and tell them, hey, be cool, calm, and we'll work this out.
Yeah.
And then we'll contact payroll if there's issues with payroll. If it turns out to be something the driver did, then we'll tell him we're sorry you did that.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll get you.
Are you running into an issue of drivers taking out too many cash advances? This is one of the things I preach to a lot of people. Don't go overboard on your cash advances because then you have no paycheck left.
Sure.
And then don't sit there at the end of the pay week and say, why do I have no paycheck left? Are you running into that issue at all?
I wouldn't say it's a huge issue, but I would say that, I mean,
It does occur.
it does.
It does,
occur.
eh?
The
So-
DMs try to limit that. The driver manager will really try to look out for the driver and make sure he doesn't get he or she into a hole. They try to look out for that.
Is there a max on the, like, is there a cap for cash advances type
Yes.
deal?
Is there? Okay.
There is.
Yeah.
I
I mean, we don't have to get specific,
Yeah,
but
I
there
don't
is a
get
cap,
specific, but there is a cap. Yes.
and it's all dependent on
Right. And
what the
depends
driver.
on who can give the advances. DMs
Yeah.
have a certain amount they can do. Operations manager have more leeway to be able to give more advances. Some
Okay.
of them only the payroll manager can give, so large or whatever.
Okay.
So it has to be done by the payroll manager in that case.
Okay, excellent. One of the other questions now, because I am Canadian, and this is our U.S. division, can Canadian drivers call you if they have issues? Are you able to help the Canadian drivers?
Some things we are. Most of the time, they're supposed to call the Canadian payroll.
Okay.
And she takes care of everything. But if they ever having trouble with their com data card or something like that, yes, we can take
They
care
can
of it.
call here
Yes.
for some issues. What about, let's say, if they don't get along with their DM, they're not getting along with the operations manager in the terminal, and they're having some serious issues, but they don't want to quit, can they call you for issues?
We can do the fleet transfer request, but
Not that we really have much for fleet options up by us, but
right. I've honestly
they can call you as a mediator type deal.
Yeah. I've had maybe 3 to 5 Canadians ever call me.
Well, I think that might be because we don't know if we can or not. Because we're told Canada's Canada, US is US. So, but they
We
can
are
call if they
limited,
do.
but we can
There
still
is some
help.
options
There's some
there.
options we can help with. Yes.
Or direct them to the right
direct them to the right place.
Exactly.
right place and get it done.
Same thing would be with the Jaguar drivers.
Right.
I mean, we may not be able to look into specifics, but we can shoot an email to someone over at Jag and say, hey, this is what's happening. Could you reach out to this driver or have someone else on your team help him out since we can't?
So basically, we could say, safe to say, driver services is more of a intermediate between all the other departments.
Right. Yes, you could say that.
All right. So, is there anything else either one of you'd like to add to the drivers, that a message maybe, or?
I don't know. We love them. Bring them on. That's the reason we have a job.
Yeah. Happy Driver Appreciation Week.
Yeah, exactly.